guys. You get this started off, and I'm going to see.
Halford up ahead for Leifer. Leifer open for throws the alley for Terrell. Oh my goodness!
Okay, are we live?
We're live.
Oh, yo! We are back! Oh my God, with an unbelievable victory in the immortal words of Natan Cohn, V'nahafochu. This is a classic Adar victory, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Balabatim. Tonight, we have Fear and Tish with the Grizzled Vet, aka the former Mac, aka the Big Dog, aka Priest Mode. He's in the Mac Center, live from the MSAC. He loves it when you call him Ref Papa. It is Natan HaKohen Cohen. We are also here with our resident stat head, aka the Professor, aka the Admor of Analytics, aka for whom the bell curve tolls. He is the Mashkiach Ruchani of the Balabatim. He is Shua, also HaKohen Shlita. And we are here with the absolute savant of the Balabatim chat, the guy who I'm constantly checking back through the old WhatsApps. He is Rabbeinu, Ariel, Adler, Shlita, and finally, the legend, the Max Live Mafia, the Podfather, the godfather of Max Media. He is Oren Klickman. We are here with an unbelievable show for you. We're going to have hopefully Gabe Leifer joining us later, Dark Knight Seder himself. We have Natan live from the MSAC. And of course, we have the one and only, the mighty Mayor, Meizel, aka Mayor Wiesel on the ones and twos, engineering us to the moon. As Mayor always tells me to tell you, please like and subscribe to the Balabatim on YouTube. And I, of course, am Ari Lamb, one half the Bandwagon Boys. And I know we have my other half the Bandwagon Boys, Reb Sim Shlita, joining us in the chat. So we're really, really excited to be here. Guys, what an awesome way to start off Rosh Chodesh. This is a propitious time. I mean, guys, jump in. Like, what are you guys seeing in a game like this? I mean, this is a V'nahafochu game, yeah?
It's Adar, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Tell two halves for sure.
What were you, Shua, what were you seeing as the game started that wasn't clicking right? Like, what wasn't clicking in the first half?
I'll be perfectly honest. I only tuned in to start the second half.
So it's Shua's that's why we started. Okay, that's why I started.
Yeah, so
that explains it right there.
Saw the good side.
Well, I mean,
I was talking to Ariel. It's weird how much from a score and game control perspective this game mimicked the last game we played against them. We were down 27-20 last time. We were down 28-20, and both last time and this time we kind of were up very early in the second half, and then kind of held on and kept control of the game from there. So I didn't see the first half, but the second half I saw a team that got it together. We didn't get as many shots as the last game in terms of good looks. So we didn't force shots. We took it inside. We continued the ball movement, and we ended up getting good looks on basically every possession, and the defense was there. So I was very impressed with what I saw in the second half, and it was very exciting to see.
I mean, Oren, the offense just seemed like stagnant, right? I mean, what was happening there? It just seemed like nothing was flowing. No one could get in a rhythm. Matan couldn't get in a rhythm. What was happening out there?
Well, I think to quote Zevi's post-game interview, it's a freshman playoff game. A lot of these guys are playing their first ever playoff game. It's probably, for a lot of them, the first biggest game they ever played in their lives. And they played the game for years. So I think Coach Steinmetz made the adjustments he needed to make at halftime. And then Max really, I think we're all praising Max throughout that second half. He really catapulted that offense going forward. And not that I'm a superstitious guy, but I am a little superstitious. Matan changing from a long sleeve shirt to taking that off. He got going down low. He was getting his way with Malloy a lot more.
Freed up those arms.
So definitely also pivotal.
I mean, I also saw Matan.
Guys, I need to pause you for a second.
Who do we got here, baby?
We have somebody who we've been dying to get for a while, but you could talk him up.
How we doing? How we doing?
The man.
Oh my God!
How we
Put on
doing?
the three goggles, baby. It's Oren Batesh. Holy cow. We have the human 3-point shot himself, the guy who is ice cool. He's got literal ice water running through his veins.
Yep.
Absolute glot kosher ice water running through the veins. Oren, I mean, what an unbelievable victory. What happened there in the second half, you guys?
You know, we had to turn it up, and that's exactly what we did. Same thing happened last time we played Stage Long Island in the second half, and we just did it again.
Unbelievable. What is it like having so many young guns on the team this year as opposed to last year where you had so many returning faces? What's it like to play with a crew like that?
Energetic. They're all energy. They have a lot of energy, and that's how it was the whole second half, as you guys saw. Going up and down, scoring, stealing. We're all over the place, and we were hyped up. It was a sick win. Sick to be out there.
So, I mean, I want everyone else to have a chance to get in with questions, but I got one more question for you, Oren. I got one more question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Go ahead, R.
What is it like to know with 100% certainty that a 3 is going in? I mean, that's your whole life, yeah?
Yeah, it feels great. It feels great. Like, there's no better feeling than, like, leaves your hand, you know it's going bottom.
I'll tell you, in the stands, it's like everyone's expected just to drop, and it's a beautiful thing. I think the one thing I want to ask is, halftime you go in, you know you play good D, right? The shots just aren't falling. So what's that conversation like? Is it, let's do more of the same? Because you also came out and it was clear that defensive intensity went up like 10 notches.
It was
like
more
crazy.
It was more of like, keep on doing what we're doing on the defensive, but like we know the shots are gonna fall. Like we're a great shooting team. We're great from outside. Like we knew the shots were gonna fall down, and we weren't really worried. We knew we're going into the second half. We're very confident. We're winning that game.
So, Oren, more macro question, Oren. So coming into this season, you were the guy who deadly 3-point shooter, but you were a guy who the team only needed you to really take those shots when you were wide open. This season, the team needs you more to like take shots whenever they're available and be more assertive. And we've seen it. And actually, your 3-point percentage has gone up as your shot difficulty has gone up. What's that change in mentality been like?
I guess it's all just my confidence level is very high right now, and just gotta keep it where it's at. You know, my team is trusting me. I trust my teammates. And we're just gonna roll.
I'm gonna take one for tonight because I think tonight there were so many individual. Like it was a great team game, but I can actually point to probably about 20 moments tonight where individual plays were amazing. I think I want to go back to two things. I think what we saw this season, one is that you're right. It's not just about the shot. You had a great drive right in the first half, right? We took your man again. You had a great drive and shot. Again, it was an offensive fella Roy that took it away, but some great offensive plays. But talk about the play you saw in the second half where you got that nice little sweet little kiss pass over to Zook as you take a step in and sort of floated over the big man.
Me and Matan, we got the greatest chemistry on the team. So once I saw him rolling, I knew I had him. I knew he was gonna lay that baby in.
It was so soft. It was like the touch pass. Malloy really didn't. He expected the shot. He expected it. I didn't see it at all. It was really one of the great moments of the game. I think that was to go up even 48-45 or one around the. That was sick.
Yeah.
But awesome. We really appreciate the time.
Got you guys.
I know you got to run. Guys, we're gonna see if we can grab some more folks, but keep going.
See you guys.
Go kill it, Oren.
The Oren.
Thanks, guys.
My God.
Yeah, that pass after the dribble handoff was so nice. That pass to nothing to Matan.
And we
And
haven't.
two
I mean, like the nature of the motion is we haven't seen the pick and roll game that much over the years. So it was awesome to see them pull it out multiple times tonight.
Yeah, when it's available, like when they're sagging off Matan, when Malloy's literally standing by the basket, giving them so much space, that's going to be available. And it's within, and a lot of times they're doing it within the offense. It's not like just they're doing it, you know, by itself. They're not just doing pick and roll. It's within the offense. It's flowing through. It looks like they're, you know, that's what they're planning on doing, and it's part of the offense now. And I think it's opened up a lot, and you saw it in the second half for sure. There's a few of those there were huge for us.
I mean, what's to me the biggest additive in this offense is just having someone like Max who can create off the dribble in almost like a non-motiony way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking at Max Zach. I mean, that guy fits the motion perfectly. He's someone who can penetrate. He's someone who can drive and kick. He's somebody who can shoot the three as he did tonight. You know, although Shua and Ariel, you would know better than I would about how his percentages are, but I felt pretty confident him launching threes from deep. You know, not after running the shot clock to 3 with zero action, but I think Max is just such a huge addition to the offense and it really allows us to make those comebacks without, being a one-trick pony.
Guys, you never know who's gonna stop by when you're hanging out in the Max Cash.
Oh, Roy.
My God.
We got literally. I mean, I know my favorite player taking up the Matan mantle after Matan's gonna be gone. Hopefully not for another year. Maybe we can convince him. But we got Roy here.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Rabbi Sideshow Roy himself. We're so excited. Unbelievable. Roy, you want really stand out new addition to the team. You're like a total favorite of the ball bottom. What's it like being kind of like the energy guy in this team?
I really love it. Like, it's something I always love doing, giving the energy and helping the others move around, just helping them get into the position they need to. Like, it's like I always look like how Matan plays. I always look what's it called?
To sort of remember that.
Yeah, I look after him to see what he's doing, because I want to kind of be like him and get the position when I can really bring everybody in,
in the first half, you had to be him a little bit tonight because he was on the bench for the last 3 or 4 minutes. It was you down there, guarding the big man. So what was that like? Like, do you guys prepare for that? Say, listen, I know
we did not.
I know there are going to be stretches where I have to go. How does that happen?
We actually did not plan for me guarding the big at all. We planned me guarding 22.
By the way, you shut him down last game, and the job that you did on him in the first half. I know the minutes were different in the second half, but that's a huge. That was amazing. The way you played D out there all the time. So what happens when you're on Malloy? You find yourself up there. What's the thought?
So I was just thinking how Matan told us. We talked about it in film sessions how we have to hedge and stay on him high and just raise our hands up and just stay there, and just try to put just hard. It's all hard.
By the way, shouts to a D3 media legend, Ryan Scott, who's in the chat with us, who says, Roy, my favorite Mac as well. So, Roy, you're getting love from the D3 universe out there.
Ryan Scott, he's a friend of the podcast, but also a great writer for D3hoops.com, who knows his stuff. He's been doing this for years. He's a huge fan of your
top
game.
25 voter, yeah.
He discovered YU in the first, but he was the first person to really discover YU in the Ryan Terrell era. And Roy, you are his favorite Mac. And I think the reason that you are such a fan favorite so quickly is because you've been able to fit in on this team as if you're like a 4-year vet. But what's it like playing on a team with a bunch of new guys, right? Like, this isn't a team with a lot of older players. How do you guys make it work?
I feel like it really helps that I can really put my leadership and help the guys, even though they're new, old. All this stuff doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all playing as one team together. So we just gotta get all together, talk to each other, and it doesn't matter. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, all is one.
The game coming up, Manhattanville, right?
Yeah.
That I happened to be there. Actually, I think you had a lot of parents who were on break. And we had Bardachev's parents and other. There was a great game. It was probably one of the best games you guys have played all season because it was start to finish. You guys were in it. I don't even think Max was playing that game by that time. I don't recall whether he was back or not. But you guys feel comfortable. It's you only played them once, right? They're not in the side of the conference. Are there any thoughts about that game coming up, or you're going to go back and sort of watch, get the breakdown?
Yeah, we're going to watch, get the breakdown, and see what we need to do. Because I know we're playing the best defense on, I think, number 14 . Their guy.
Yeah, Leach.
Yeah. The guy, or I don't know. We're not playing the best defense on him. So, and we kind of came back in the game. I remember it was back and forth. But I feel like if we play better defense this time and move the ball around like we did the second half
the
here,
defense
we should be okay.
The D was good in the first half. It got to another level in the second half, especially the way it started, but it carried all the way through.
Steals.
We really appreciate stopping by.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, if you guys don't see, he travels with a posse. There's 10 people here. There's probably 20 outside. I'm telling you, it's he makes sure he has a minyan everywhere he goes.
Yeah, you got to.
Yes! Oh my God. We should get us out there. Marvin Basimcha. Mazel tov, Roy.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Roy.
Nathan, by the way, while that was happening, as if this wasn't legendary enough, we are now joined.
No way. Gabe is on
by the accountant, aka the comptroller of the MSAC, aka the Dark Knight Satyr, aka my daughter's favorite Mac of all time, aka the Rebbe in Black, the all-time Max leader in assists and rebounds. He is the first gentleman of the Leifer household. He is Gabe Leifer. He's back on the ball about him. Rabbeinu Gabe, thank you so much for coming on. We're so psyched that you're here.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to hear you just because I was sitting in front of Natan the whole game, but it was a lot of fun. He's probably the best fan there was in the gym today, and I'm excited to be here.
As do we have is he like Papa Terrell now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I mean he's maybe Laurel Terrell because he was doing the when I say go, you say Max, and I haven't seen that in a while. He didn't put on the blonde wig, but it was good.
Oh, we'll get it. By the way, I thought it was great in the MSAC. By the way, if anybody has the video of Laurel Terrell at the DRS game from last year, that was like the craziest fans I've ever seen in my life. That place was literally shaking. It was awesome.
Oh my God, Gabe, what is it like to watch a team that we all thought was going to be in tear down rebuild mode take a victory in round one of the Skyline in the Skyline playoffs? What's it like to watch this team?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning of the season, I was not expecting a lot, honestly, from the team. You know, it was a big. Everyone was saying it's a rebuild year, but I mean, as we learned from the Chiefs, a rebuild year. I guess that means you win the championship. But I knew the guys on the team. I knew the guys that they were getting in, and these are guys that are going to work hard. And I knew that I was just nervous about like the first year struggles about people from some players and not playing in those big games. But tonight showed a lot of character of who they are, what they've worked for the whole year. And I knew that if they just work hard and play defense, they'll be able to compete with any team in the conference.
Gabe, I don't know how much Max basketball you've gotten to watch this year, because I know you're busy, you're out in the workforce, you're learning, Baruch Hashem, all the good stuff. But if you've gotten to watch any Max ball, like what have you seen? Like what is the identity of this team as it's developed over the years? Like for so long, it wasn't like the Ryan and Gabe show, but you guys were like the identifiable leaders of the team. What are you seeing as this Max team develops an identity?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I think they have more of an identity than we did last year. I think that they are a group of guys that are going to play for each other, and night in, night out, they're going to look up to the captains of the team, and Matan and Adi, they're going to lead by example, and the guys are just going to follow them. And they're just a hard, gritty team. They're not going to blow out too many teams, but they're not going to get blown out as well. If you let them stick around, it's one of those teams that they just have a few guys that are electric and can make any shot on the floor. And if you let a team stick around for a certain amount of time, sometimes you find yourself in trouble and the other team pulls out the win. And that's kind of what they've been doing a year. Teams have been letting them stick around, and they haven't maybe taken them as serious because they don't have, let's say, all the names and people with stats from previous years. But these guys sneak up on you, and they're a good team. They've got good players, and they've got a bright future ahead of them. And these kids, and I'm going to say kids because Max Zackheim was actually my camper when I was a counselor in Morishah. So I'm going to call him a kid. But these kids are growing up quick, and they're playing big games that are not just going to help them for this year, but beginning of next year, they're already going to be ready to play in these big games and have big moments.
I mean, listen, Max Live Zackheim is quick fan favorite on the pod here. What has Max added to the team that has been surprising for you, or maybe not surprising, but what does Max bring to the team?
I think he's if not the most, one of the most important players on the team, because he's just that guy who is going to play hard D. He's going to be the guy that when things aren't going, he's going to create. He's going to take it to the hoop, have a nice spin with a finish, and he's just going to be tough. He can be 0 for 15 from the floor, but if he's playing hard D and he's guarding up the other team's best player, or he's just creating some offense when there's some dead spots, that's what they need. Because I mean, Oren and Zevi are unbelievable shooters, and they can hit shots where you're like, why are you even shooting it? And then all of a sudden it goes in. You're like, that's why they're shooting. But Max and Matan, those are like, and I'd even say Roy, like when they're on the court, those are glue guys that every team needs. Each one of them are as important as the next.
We talked about it earlier on the pod, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Speaking of Matan, we saw some pick and roll action tonight, especially in the second half. That was something that we haven't really seen from the Max team as it's been running a motion offense, and it was kind of a welcome sight. They got good action off it multiple times and scored. I think, most of the times they ran it, what is What is the role for that kind of action in an offense like this with this kind of personnel?
It's something that if teams are not going to guard Matan and they're going to play off him and be in the paint, it's something that they need to do. I know Matan can make the shots. Sometimes the stats may not say I've been playing with him forever. He can make those threes. But if he's running that pick and roll with Zevi or Oren and how good of a shooter they are with that pop, and then all of a sudden if the big steps up and they just have a little drop off pass, it's very hard to stop. And it's something that I'm surprised that they've been doing, because one of our first rules when I walk into practice day one was we do not set pick and rolls. But now those were probably some of the most important plays this game, where they found a bucket when things were more slow.
I want to go back to because to me, and I know we haven't, I probably missed when you guys were talking about, and I said this when Oren was on. There were some really, again, great team defense, great playing, but there were some really important individual plays that took place throughout this game. Some of the Matan sort of like, I'm a man, go through Malloy layups, right? That happened sort of to the second half, those two and ones that weren't converted, but those plays. But I want to go back to Max for a second, because Gabe, what you said to me is actually the turning point in this game. It's 31-24. And again, not sure if this is super clear, from the broadcast, but there's a play and Malloy is streaking to the hoop, and he's going to be wide open, and it's going to be a bucket, easy layup to go up 9, easy layup. Zakheim comes out of nowhere, hits the ball out of his hand from behind when he's going up for the shot, right? So reaches a high point, hits the ball out of his hand, takes the ball down the court, dribbles around, then finds Batesh on the right wing for a 3. And it goes from being going to be a 33-24 9-point deficit to actually the play that starts that big run. Again, they steal the next 2 possessions, and it gets that run going. So that play for me literally was the turning point of the game. And it's a perfect example of, like, he just doesn't stop on a single play. It was just amazing to see in game. I don't know if you saw that happen, but it was unreal. He really kicked off the entire run, and just again, the epitome of what he brings to this team on both sides.
Yeah, they had a few of those. I think Goff had one where it was big, and I think Oren had one or two, and Roy had a couple. But that's what I'm saying. Every team you need that guy, that Zevi Samit, that Ryan Terrell, who could score for 30 points every night. But if you don't have that Matan Zucker or that Gav Landau coming off the bench, or Roy or Max, then you're not going to be a great team. As good as a player you may have, you need those guys that are going to do the things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, that can really swing a game.
Gabe, first off, good to see you again. For the viewers who don't know, I announced Gabe's Sarachek final against Shalhevet. And his first NCAA game. Gabe, so the YU advances now to play Manhattanville in the semifinals, a team that you guys squared off against in the finals last year. And they're going to be going up against a lot of guys that you got to face off against on the court last year. So what piece of advice would you give to these young Macs as they go up against Manhattanville on Thursday?
That they're just going to be a mature team. Whatever you do will not phase them. But what the Macs can't do is they can't overreact. They're playing at Farmingdale. Going into last year, we knew that if we just took away the 3-point line, we can beat them pretty easily. We had more size. I think we had more talent. But if we took away the 3-point line, they're going to struggle. And I think it's the same thing this year. They're playing at home, and this is going to be a mature team, and they're going to work the Max down. They're going to guard Zevi. They have guys this guy, I think his name is Jake Dunn. He probably guarded Ryan, I don't know, 7-8 times, always up in his face. And Ryan may have scored 50 points on Manhattanville. I guarantee you, if you ask Ryan, that was probably one of the toughest 50 points he's ever gotten. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be in their face, and you just can't overreact if they get off to a hot start and they make some shots at home, because if they go down 9-0 and you start making mistakes, they're mature enough to make you pay for it. And it can be a long night if they don't take care of the ball and they start playing with a little bit of panic and they point fingers. But if they just stay composed and mature, I think they'll be in for a fight. And I think that hopefully we'll be at Farmingdale Sunday.
Ariel, tell me, we've talked about it many times. Is there a better point guard leader in the conference than Latino? He's got to be one of the best.
He's great. I think he's up there in the conference with Zevi in points per game, but he also has a really good shooting percentage. He could pass. They got him. They got Jackson Leach, who played really well against us. They're a really great team. and it's going to be tough to, turn the page right away. Like, I guess, Gabe, how do you turn the page? You've been in a lot of Skyline playoffs in your career. How do you, 2 days away, you only have a day to prepare for the next game. How do you do it to such a big game?
Yeah, so they've seen these guys before. They probably have as much film as they want on them. The guys who were there last year know these guys, but the most important thing is going to be, okay, fine. They're not going to get into anything about Saturday night, but just moving forward is they're going to have a home game regardless in the first round. But now it's, if people start saying, oh, we should have been home this game if we would have played, that can get to them. They just have to understand that the next game is Thursday night. No matter where you're going to play, you have to win any game that's ahead of you. And if they just stick to scout, run them off the 3-point line, but play with help D so they don't have those dump off passes, and just stay together as a team, it's going to be a game. It'll be fun to watch. I won't be there, but hopefully they win, so I have another one in me this year.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned you want the final against Farmingdale, not a home final against Maritime.
If you want to go to Farmingdale, regardless of what happened or what didn't happen. Just like you want it. It's the Duke UNC of the D3 Skyline. Ohio State, Michigan in football. It's a game you want to win. You win there on Sunday, that'll be sweeter than anything. That'll be a lot sweeter than playing home at Maritime. I can promise that.
Is there any truth? Is there any truth to the rumor that you've been hired as one of Elliot's bodyguards for that potential Sunday matchup?
Elliot's a tough guy.
I think they might need George Armstrong for that. I don't know.
Yeah, or just you may need a family full of those Zookers.
By the way, I the last game of the season, I took my daughters to the senior night, and I think from the game, take a look at that hair is really good, and that could have referred to anybody on the team.
Yeah, they're the best, the Zookers. They'll be there, they'll be loud, and they'll be
to your point, by the way, shouts to Mac Hamciar, who's we strive to pronounce that name differently every single time we do. Shouts to Mac Hamciar in the chat. I hope Farmingdale wins Thursday so we can beat them in the finals. I mean, I think that's the feeling in Yeshiva Nation, in the base medrash, as it were. I think the Island really wants Farmingdale, and we got to give the Island what it wants.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. I know a bunch of those guys on the Farmingdale team, and although there's a lot of back and forth, those Farmingdale kids they're good guys. So there's a big rivalry maybe between the schools, whoever, but at the end of the day, it's two good basketball teams if that's what it comes down to. And playing on the road in a place like Farmingdale, I lost there my second year in the championship. If I had a chance to go back and win there, that would have been felt great. But if my guys from last year are able to do it, they'll be even greater.
Unbelievable. So, Gabe, have you kept your eye at all on any of the up and comers that might potentially join the Max in years to come? I mean, I know this year Sierra Canyon. And watching some from kids just take Bronny James to the hole again and again and again was, quite frankly, awesome. I mean, I don't know have you kept your eye on any of that?
Honestly, no. Sorry for. He's a big, strong kid that's athletic. But if Elliot tells me he's got a good guy coming in, spoken to him a few times, then I take his word for it.
Gabe.
Probably will not be watching it.
This is such Kareem energy.
Yeah, I love DRS.
I want to hang out with my grandkids and play Legos.
Yeah, I love DRS, but it's probably not the game I'll be watching on a Tuesday night.
Don't worry, Coach Stein's
he's going to be watching the first game. Yeah, no, clearly.
Yes.
Yeah,
we'll see another Zach I met play. It'll be fun.
Unbelievable. So I think early on in this, I'm curious your take on this, right? So you were one of the most celebrated, prospects, as it were, to come on to a YU team in quite a long time. You were kind of like the Jokic of our team, just with preternatural passing ability. You really saw the floor, had such an identity. I think coming into this year, at the beginning of the year, Zevi Samet quickly kind of took took on that role of just an identifiable fan favorite, somebody, you know, where anyone could identify the sweet spot of his game. He could just, it seemed like he could just hit threes from anywhere, you know. And I think one thing that we've all learned as fans is, you know, it's a long season and you gotta go through ups and downs. What advice would you have for a player like Zevi, who's become such a team leader, such a fan favorite, and who, you know, got hot really early and we're really counting on to be great in the playoffs?
I guess my message would be to enjoy it, but don't let it get to you. Freshman year, no one really knows who you are coming in. I mean, I think everyone in the country knows who he is now, but people are still going to look at it and say he's a freshman. Coming into next year, there's going to be a lot more being thrown at him, a lot of different coverages and defenses, and everyone's going to be talking about, just because naturally, especially that's how we are, is like, Jews, you know, Ryan, you go out and find the next hot take. It's going to be Ryan or Zevi. How is Zevi going to break Ryan's record? And there's going to be a lot of talk, and he deserves it. But just don't let it get to him. Continue to be a leader, stay the course, be a good teammate, be a good friend, and just keep working hard.
By the way, Gabe, congratulations. This is the longest I've ever heard Jack Terrell not talk. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of Max Nation.
You can't see it on YouTube.
What's the deal, Jack? Are you there? Like, is it just a figment of my imagination?
You can't see it on YouTube, but we have with us the Rebbe of the Max Stern Athletic Center, the aka the greatest color man ever to grace the Max Live broadcast, the Jack Attack, and I think he's on mute and you can't see him on the screen, but the Jack Attack is lurking. That is a real thing. It's a real thing. Wow, unbelievable. So, Gabe, as you kind of look at a team. As you kind of look at a team like the one that we're seeing now, we have the 3-point, we have the 3-point shooting. We have Matan, who's a real stalwart on rebounding. We have the kind of penetration threat from a Zachheim. What do you? I think what we've seen though is on occasions, today being an example. It just takes some working out the kinks in the first half. Like sometimes it takes a little time for the for the offense to get hot. What do you attribute that to? Like, how do we get this thing rolling right away? Is it just that, you got to trust the process and run the offense and things shape up? Is it that simple?
Yeah, it sounds like it should be a little bit more complicated, but it is that simple. I mean, when the season started in September, now it's almost end of February. That's 4 or 5 months that they've been practicing this 5 times a week, which is almost like about 100 times this year, where they've just been running the same offense with the same guys and just working with each other and learning how each other plays and how the other person plays. And you just gotta trust what you do. Harold Katz would probably kill me if I said that they should be doing something else, but the offense works. The offense works. The numbers are, everything's behind it. Sometimes people argue, oh, you have a different personnel, but the offense works. If they stick to the course and just work with each other and trust each other and make that extra pass to the next guy, the shots will fall. But it really just comes down to defense. Defense wins ball games. Foul shots wins ball games. If they're not going to play D or they're not going to make their foul shots, it doesn't matter how hot you get on offense. You'll go into a shootout with them in a Haddonville team or have a tough time at Farmingdale, and you can find yourself down quick. And when you get down quick, people start pointing fingers, and it's not so fun. Someone tries to make the hero play, but just play by play, value each possession, don't turn over the ball and rebound. The game's not as difficult as it seems.
Is it, when you watch the game now, right? It's like almost the curse, right? A little bit of like, but are you able to just sit and watch, or or is part of watching now saying, hey, I see what's happening with the offense, right? Or I see what, that the thing that if they just do this one right extra thing or what they're missing, like, is that going through your mind when you watch, or is it just taking in basketball because it's a beautiful thing anyways?
Easier as a player to
really?
Pick up who's open. Because when I'm on the bench, I'm not the bench. When I'm in the stands, I can't feel the physicality. I mean, I could watch from a distance, but players gotta make the reads, and I don't know how this guy's really guarding from my angle. Some may stand, some may block me, but you really get a much different feel for the game when you're playing. And I mean, at least for me, I see things a lot differently when I play. Sometimes I'll be like thinking to myself, oh, just like throw it up. The guy has no idea where his man is by the hoop. Like it doesn't need to be an alley-oop dunk, but you just give a little lob. Done it 1,000 times to Ryan, and he just gets a free layup out of it. Sometimes I'm just like thinking to myself, like, just do it. And like I'm starting to like lean forward, like, come on, make the pass. But they're doing great. And it's fun to play in this offense. The motion's great. And there's a lot of trust between the coaches and players. And it's great to watch, and it's even better to play.
That's really incredible insight. And again, I think even some just, Ari would say it's, mustard us as fans, but also just, I think it's good, right? Like, meaning there is a level of, right, you got to seeing it from the game level to be able to really understand the choices that you're going to then make, right? And so we can see, hey, why is this not happening? Why is that not happening? But it's the conversations that they're having, and I think that's pretty cool. Appreciate that insight.
By the way, shouts to Aaron Wyden in the chat. Question for Gabe: do you think the guys care if it's a home game or away game? Seems to me they've played better away than at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants a home game, especially when the crowd can get behind you like that. No one likes sitting in class for the next 2 days. Hey, we got film tomorrow night. We got to do this. Let's make sure we go to sleep early. And all you're thinking about is, then I got class Thursday. How am I going to email my teachers? I got to go shoot around and do X, Y, and Z. But when you got a home game and the fans are going to be there, and you don't have to sit on that bus ride, regardless if you play better away or not, you're shooting on those hoops every day. And that's exactly where you want to play.
I mean, one of the most mystifying storylines of the season has been the emergence, although we didn't really see him as much today, but the emergence of Effie Freundlich. This is one of those like Anthony Bennett, like Joel Embiid stories where it's like he didn't even know what a basketball was until he was in 12th grade. Like this guy came out of nowhere. He was like a backup to a backup JV,
Torretraga. So yeah, that's
Torretraga squad. And yes, Elliott saw something in him, and all of a sudden he's been like a huge difference maker off the bench. What have you seen Effie play? Like, what is the story here? What's going on?
I've seen him play, and he's an exciting player. I think right now he's, at least that's what everyone says, is like he's learning how to play. He's never really played organized pickup. I mean, I don't know what's in Canada. I know they play ice hockey. But besides for that, I don't know how much like organized ball they're playing, but I don't know. I'm allowed to say what Elliott says, but Elliott says that this kid's going to be special. Once he can see the floor the way I think he's going to be able to. So Elliott has high hopes, whether or not he got in the game today. He joined only, I don't know, 5.5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. It takes a lot of time. These guys have been together from the beginning. He joined in the middle. I had the same process. My first day in practice, I was so scared of Simcha Halpert. I was basically shooting on the same side and acted like all my shots went where his balls went so I could just run and rebound for him. But once you learn your place and the guys learn how to play with you, it makes a big difference. So although he may not have gotten in tonight, Elliott knows that he's got his Swiss Army knife on the bench.
Unbelievable. Gabe, we can't thank you enough for coming on and hanging out with us, and Fear and Tish over here with the ball bottom. We know you're a busy guy. We're so grateful you took time out for us. Have an amazing rest of the night.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good luck to the Max Thursday, and hopefully I'll see you all in person Sunday.
On Sunday, exactly.
Have a good one, guys.
Ow.
Appreciate it, Gabe. Thank you.
Chevra, Dark Knight Seder himself.
What a love. I love it. Love his energy.
What a going. I love it. It's so good. By the way, shouts in the chat to Greek YU alum. IWU lost in the first round of their conference tournament. Hope Bob Q is okay. I don't think that's sarcastic. I think we like genuinely we care about Bob and Max Nation and IWU. I think if the Max had been out, we'd be rooting for IWU. We're all big Titans fans here. And although shouts also to IA2 STL in the chat. Bob, I'll pick you up from the airport if you come in on Sunday for the final. I mean, hey, listen, I'm all in for. We need to give Bob some time to let the dust settle and to take this in. But I'm excited for a potential Bob Q Max ride the rest of the year.
Yeah, and Bob can roll on the Sabbath, so he should be able to get here without he has an extra day of travel, so it should work out well.
Exactly. Oh my God. Like, can I ask you guys, can we pause for a second and just reflect on how crazy it is that we're here this year in what was supposed to be, I think we all would have been perfectly happy to just get a couple of good games, see some good things out of some guys, send Matan off in a respectable way, just to be here, like to be arguably good enough to be the 1 seed is remarkable. Like, it's crazy that we're here. No,
it's nuts. Like, if you thought, yeah, like you said, I think you're talking about at the beginning, before the season, like in the summer, we're like, and that was like we thought like Ofik was coming back, even like, yeah, it's gonna be tough. Maybe they'll win a few games. Like, yeah, like it's just like, it's nuts. Like there's
What does it seem like, by the way,
did the
2
math,
years
like
ago already?
two-thirds of our points have come from first-year players. It's like insane. We lost 80% of our points from last year. Like, this is not supposed to happen. It's been really fun to watch, even though they're not destroying every team they're playing. I think in a way it's been more fun. There's been a lot of close games. You don't feel stressed that if they don't beat them by 35, that, what's wrong, they're not beating them by 35. Like, it's been really fun to watch. They've had their ups and downs. We watched these guys grow. I think what's one of my favorite parts about watching Gabe when he first came, like, I was able to see them develop and see them, rise. And we're seeing this firsthand. Like, if you watch them this season, you've watched them the whole way, and it's been really fun. And this is, it's supposed to be a rebuilding year, but we're in the second round of the Skyline playoffs, and we're doing well.
Well, think about 13, right? 13-3, right? 13-3 with I think 5 or 6 wins. No, let's see, right? Mount St. Vincent twice, like over, it's not just 13-3, but over the playoff teams, right? I mean, like, if you go through the playoff teams, we've got, I think six wins against, right, the playoff team. So, I think it may be even 6-2, considering I think their only losses, right, St. Joe's, Long Island, and USMMA, but 6 that they've been really doing well and playing well, and you also see the fortitude, right? Like, it's not an easy thing. Just like, I know we're used to this formula, but it's not easy. Like, this first half and then come back from 7, 8, 9-point deficits and then make that run. And then they were down, right? Like, it was brief.
Yeah,
it was
the same
brief,
thing happened
but it got back to 42-40. They went up by 7, 8, and then they were down 42-40.
It wasn't that they didn't just throw one punch.
Quit.
Yeah,
there was no quit. Great to see a D get the minutes that literally that may be, if I go back to maybe even the first week or two, like, that may be the most minutes. Since Max was injured.
Definitely since Max is back, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he played great. Everyone stepped up.
His defense, he had some key blocks. That block on Tabata towards the end of the game, really, really solid.
Reminded me of Armstrong's game against St. Joe's, Connecticut last year.
Yeah,
there were a lot. I mean, I don't know what the box score said. Actually, I have it in front of me. Like, I think there were like 7, 8, 9 blocks in the game.
Why he's not known for the box score? He had.
And also credit to St. Joe's of Long Island. In that first half, they looked super prepared.
Yeah.
They looked very prepared to face us, and
their defense was great.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of we finally punched back in the second half. We didn't take it anymore.
Yeah, they're a great team. I think just like, we're going to see the same guys next year. Allen, Malloy, Tabata, all these guys, I think, they're all coming back. I think a lot of them are like sophomores even. Like, we're going to be seeing them a lot, and we're going to be battling head to head. This is not the last time we're seeing them.
And it certainly doesn't benefit us if they're in our division, so we have to play them twice.
Right, we're going to be seeing them a lot, and we're going to be no Spencer Malloy. We're going to know Alec Tabata. We're going to hopefully he'll be healthy for the full season next year. It's going to be another rivalry, and I think the Skyline's growing. It gets a lot of flack, but I think the Skyline has some great teams. I think St. Joe Line, the credit to them. They, the new coach this year, and they had a good season, but we came out on top.
What do you think about again, I keep going back to it, right? There were some really great individual plays, some great aggressiveness that even happened in the second half. I'm looking now at the stats, just in terms of the second half. Obviously, we know about the shooting woes, 6 for 28 in the first half, but in the second half, right, we had 1 2-point basket made in the first half. In the second half,
and that was Oren, yeah, and that was just
right,
it was Oren,
and that was Oren on that drive in the second half.
Had a great take in the second half. That's not very light.
That was a great take, and by the way, that was a foul too. They didn't call it on 2, hit him after the bucket. That should have been a foul as well. They weren't calling a lot. Max was getting a lot of contact near the basket, and there weren't a lot of calls on one of those drives. Again, to be fair, they weren't calling it the other way either.
It was a physical game.
They were definitely letting them play. But we had 12 2-point buckets in the second. It wasn't just free throws, right? At the end, we had 12 2-point buckets, and only one less made three. So just seeing the team rely less on the 3-point shot, right? Because I do think that is part of the recipe, right? Where the first half has been rough, but we've also tried to rely on the 3-point shot a lot, right? 17 of the 28 shots in the first half were threes. Only 10 of the 31 shots in the second half were threes. So there's a difference.
But you know what, Nathan? I'm curious if you saw this at the game, but one thing that jumped out to me is it kind of reminded me of some of the really good 3-point offenses in the NBA, where even if the threes aren't falling, or even if you're not even taking that many threes, just the fact that we have so many players who can shoot the three created so much space for Matan to go to work one-on-one.
So much space. Although the truth is, like, Malloy, it was different, right? When Malloy was in the
Malloy,
game.
aka Hipster Igby.
and getting his, by the way, and getting his fourth foul with 10 minutes left.
That was huge. Yeah, that was
huge.
The turning point of the game. That was it. Yeah.
They have to put him back with 6 minutes left, and they didn't want to, but the game was slipping away even then. So there's so many plays. Tabata getting his third foul with about 14, I think 12, 13 minutes left. So there were some big plays that required them to change their substitution. And the truth is, for as solid as they played, their offense really only exists through Allen, Malloy, and Tabata. And Tabata didn't even fill it up. So
Allen's
really, Allen is a great player.
So
I love watching him last year.
Allen's got a jumper, man. He's got a real jumper.
And
like,
especially
he reminds me of like DeMar DeRozan a little bit. He can stop on a dime, shoot that kind of like mid-range shot really well. Unbelievable stuff.
He actually reminds me a lot of Powell on Farmingdale State. A little smaller and quicker. From a guard perspective, I think shoots the three a little bit better, but I think that's what we worry sometimes, because I've seen a lot of guys come into the M stack and actually shoot that. Our defense gears to the three, right, and the collapse. So a lot of the mid-range guys, if you can nail that down, that's where we suffer a little bit, and you see that with Powell when they play us. Farmingdale feasts on the mid-range against us. But guys, really looking forward to Thursday night. I have heard, for fans, just to give a heads up, because I know the questions will come and we don't know the answers to them. But I'm sure they'll be put on a statement. I've heard only 100 tickets maybe made available. Maybe a little more. Manhattanville is not a big gym. It's by the way, the basketball playing is fine, but it's a bandbox. It's a probably.
It's like a high school gym.
Close to 100 seats on the if that many on the floor of the gym, and then on top you maybe have another 100. So there's not a lot of seats in that gym. Maybe a little bit.
It's gonna be an early game. It sounds like a 5 o'clock game or something. Is that what I heard?
Oh, really?
That's what I thought they said at Max Live.
And I'll tell you why. The reason from my sources, apparently Manhattanville women are also playing.
Manhattanville women are so good, by the way. So good.
Yeah.
Shouts to the Manhattanville women's basketball.
They get priority apparently, so they play the later game from what I've heard.
Interesting. Okay, so I'll be still in the office. I mean, I'm there now still, but we'll be watching.
Wait, so Oren, are you saying we can take in a double header?
Yeah, we're talking.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
Anton, I need you to ask your former high school principal to let me out early so I can make it in time for the YU game.
I'll make the call. We got it. Get out here. We'll do some recruiting. We'll recruit. But amazing. Really, really. I mean, the way they came out tonight, really impressive. I mean, we keep talking about there's so many individual plays.
So I think a lot of people are going to dissect the one regular season game we had with Manhattanville, and I think everyone recalls Oren Batesh was the catalyst in that win. How do we anticipate the defensive matchup? How you think they're going to lock in on Oren?
We're going to have to bear down. I mean, they're not going to let Oren beat them. But they didn't see Max last time. I think if I go back to it, I got to check the thing, but I'm pretty sure they didn't see Max last time, which changes things because they don't. Because they're a really good team, really solid team. I mean, Gabe said it. Jake Dunn is fantastic. Leach is fantastic. Latito is fantastic. They have a couple other guards that they'll bring in, St. Louis and others that will play just in terms of like defense, right? I think St. Louis is a small guard, like incredibly quick. But these guys can really play. I don't know that they can cover all of our guards to that same effect. Latito's a good player, but he's not one of the lockdown defenders that are going to chase you across the place. He needs his energy for offense too. So it's going to be interesting. We have to lock down because Jackson Leach can take over a game. He really can. I mean, he really he's that dynamic a player that you're going to see that both on the inside and he will take the outside if you give it to him. He's not like Malloy's a big dude and he wants to be inside, but Malloy, when he takes the outside, is just sort of like fading back into it.
He's a good mid-range jumper. Yeah,
he's great footwork. He really has great footwork. He brings the energy of that team. So the more we can hold them down and even get them into foul trouble, the one thing they don't have going for them is they're not deep. They're really very much. I think I'll probably look at it and check it out. But
and again, neither are we.
Neither are we. Like the same thing, right? Like percentage of points, right, that come from our starting five, it's the same for them, right? So foul trouble, if it happens, is going to be tight. And honestly, that may be, if it's ref like tonight, won't be an issue. But if it's refed any differently and it's ref tighter, you have to feel that out in the first couple of minutes of the game. I remember a really well played game last time by YU and a really well played game by Manhattanville. We just wore them down, and Roy actually had a really, really, really nice game as well. So we'll see.
Also, I think an experienced team like them, you can't afford to play from behind the way we did tonight.
No, and I think last time we played them, we played better in the first half, which is rare for us. And they came back, and then we started. It was a back and forth, and Zevi had to be
flawless from beginning to end.
Zevi had some crazy shots. I remember that
Huge
game.
Shots. I remember the announcers falling. Like I was sitting next to them. I remember falling in love with them. I remember they also mispronounced whatever it was, but they loved him.
Yeah.
They loved him. He was also coming off. I think that was really early in the season. He was coming off the IWU game and some of the other games. So he was sort of the fun to watch at the beginning of that game. But it was really just a well played game, and that's what it's going to be. That's what I expect. I think this. They are well coached as well, and they really, really, I would call it almost like a mini Farmingdale in the sense of they really will get up for this game. Like they will give you their best shot. Yes. I don't expect them to be.
They remember last. They remember last
year.
They remember Ryan, and they remember the alley hoop, and
this may be the bigger test in the final itself. Honestly,
to be honest, this was the game I'm more worried about. Like this Manhattanville game is actually more worrisome to me than Farmingdale, because I also think we fear better with the teams that are like us, are styled like us. These guys will punch us in the mouth, and I think I've seen us react one of two ways to that. So I'm really expecting Matan imprint to be a little bit even more on this game. It's going to be interesting to see, right? They don't have a lot of size, but they do have a big fella. So it's interesting if Bardachev, right, starts to get some minutes back. If there's some matchups that exist to let Matan sort of go to work a little bit and give him a breather, like we saw Roy on Malloy towards the end of the piece. Like I don't want it to have to be Roy because I think that took a lot out of him, and I think that's why we didn't see him in the second half as much. And that D sort of got a lot of those minutes. So the rotation is going to be interesting. It was interesting to see tonight, and it's going to be interesting to see him in Manhattanville with this new starting lineup because it's a smaller starting lineup. But I like it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I really like it.
For sure. Yeah, no. It's exciting. We're in the second round of the playoffs. That's definitely, I don't know, like you dreamed it would happen, back in September, but we're here. It's really exciting, and we'll see that.
I think after everything that happened over the weekend, I think it's just
for sure. That's true.
We're in a much better place now. We're just focusing on playoff basketball. It's great.
It's a good point. Yeah,
a lot, and I don't think we're going to talk about it, but
I think
what we did talk about was where their mind was going to be, and maybe that was part of the hangover. Again, the only one the shots weren't dropping. I mean, you saw Matan a little bit in the sense of getting really frustrated and not getting back on D after missing a couple shots, but other than that, like that completely turned around in the second half. So they shook whatever that was off and just were able to play. And it's a non-factor. You had to go win. Yeah, change the matchup. Would Mount St. Mary's have been a better, potentially easier matchup? Probably. St. Joe's Long Island is a really good team. And they're going to be great next year too. Yeah, but from here on out, it doesn't make a difference. You were playing the four best teams in the conference.
Also, ironically, maybe the first round matchup benefited us because we really had to test ourselves as opposed to playing Mount St. Mary's. Would have been a lot easier.
I'd love to see this carry over, right? You'd love to see this second half carry over into the first half, right? It's not a long layoff. It's like it's quick. They're probably going to do a walkthrough tomorrow and do some other things. So you're going to see some really, I don't know, you're going to see it right off the bat. And that's what I think about this lineup is that this is a lineup that can get going really easily. Right, with Max and Zevi and Oren, it's really a lot to stop. Right, with Roy and Matan there. I think Roy was the one who hit the first shot of the game. Right, he hit the three in the corner. So it's more. It actually feels like more of last year and the year before's lineup in terms of the 4 out 1 in approach and the motion. Again, if it's being run in the same way, but I do think there is a lot more firepower on the outside. Again, the bigs, right, wearing down. And that's why I want to hand it to Batesh. I know he joined us. We finally got him on the show. I really think his improvement as a player has been something to marvel at. Not just his offensive improvement, but you saw it on defense tonight too. There was a play Matan didn't get back, and he, to whatever he could do, he bodied up Malloy and made him, he missed a chippy because there was someone there present. He didn't let him get all the way to the basket. So you saw that a couple times. With Oren, you saw him actually rip a board away from someone earlier in the game. Like, he is really getting down there and fighting, and I still love it when he hits a three and he turns to the crowd and you got the goggles on. He's staring it down. He's just so fun to watch.
I think if any young, Jewish kid, maybe they're not the biggest, but Batesh, he's a guy you could learn from, because he boxes out, he does everything right, he improves his game, he works so hard, and that's how you become great, really. So.
Or do you have the Godland layup on the bingo card? That was a nice layup.
No, and it's not. It's not his game.
Stretch. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's not his game. I think that's the first time I've ever seen him have a take like that.
It was great. I think everyone was really playing the way they needed to play in the second half and really getting into that energy. It was like 5-6 steals in a row. The defense was there. Their coach didn't call timeout. I mean, I don't know if it's like a new thing, but again, I think we're going to see a much tighter ball game. So we're going to shut down. Oren, you want to take us out?
Usually that's Ari's cue, but I guess I'm the designated hitter here.
Ari's just a guest. Ari's just a special guest this season.
It's a bandwagon boy, yeah.
What a win for the YU Max, victorious over St. Joe's Long Island. Moving on to face the number 2 seed in Manhattanville Valiants on Thursday at 5 o'clock. For Ariel, Natan, the rest of our crew, Mayor Wiesel, of course, I'm Oren Glickman. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for the reminder, Natan. And have a good night, everyone. Roll Max Roll and Chodesh Tov.
Round 2, semifinals. Rosh Chodesh, Adar Madness, baby. It's here. Let's do it. See you guys. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.